Hey, Tone, it's a big day because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a show that we've been recording in the mornings on Wednesday, but I think it's much better if we do it live. It's Anudder college football convo with Stanford Steve.
Yes,
Steve-o! Good to see you, Steve. A man who has more miles logged in a football season than anybody else. Obviously, we see you working and grinding everywhere. We appreciate you at game day a lot. You obviously bring incredible knowledge and vibes, not only set, but the production room and SVP and everything else you have going on podcast-wise. We appreciate you making time for us every Wednesday. But we think it was a necessity. Don't we think that, Tone? We thought it was a necessity to have at least one weekly college football pit stop, and no better person than Stanford Steve, Tone.
Yeah, college football delivers for us, so we have to deliver for college football and highlight, some of the best games of the weekend.
Stanford Steve, week 7, we're heading to Oregon, brother. And if I had to describe Oregon in one particular word, I'd say far. But if I had to say more words, I say it's beautiful. The trees are tall, and the football team is damn good under Dahn Lanning. Indiana also great. What should we be thinking about before we head out to beautiful Eugene, Oregon?
A lot, Pat. There's a ton. Oregon now has the nation's long winning streak at home. Indiana, obviously, with Sig coming in, and this is the game that everybody is pointed to because they want to see him in this kind of environment with Mendoza. The similarities between the head coaches. I mean, look at that graphic there, the win percentage, the wins, conference football playoff appearance, and then the quarterbacks. Both, I mean, a ton of tuds, 16-1 and 14-1 have really verified these two offenses, and they're both transfers. And I think it says a lot about these head coaches of constantly hitting home runs. I mean, we look at the teams. We got, 1, 2, and 4 from the preseason, already unranked. And then you got two guys that have hit home runs at the portal at the most important position on the field, and that is quarterback. Mendoza's been sensational coming in from Cal, and Dante Moore, another former Pac-12 school, UCLA, coming into Oregon. The idea here is that Indiana's better than they were last year. Is it good enough to go on and win a game against a top-5 opponent? That's the question that remains to be seen. Last year, we waited all year for them to go to Columbus, got their doors blown off. Got into the playoff, went on the road, got their doors blown off. The biggest question to me is how this is going to be different. I look towards the Indiana defense. I believe they're better. They have pros at each level. And Kamara on the defensive line, Fisher at linebacker, and Pons the corner. Sounds like he's going to play. He missed the Iowa game. So is Indiana ready to take that next step? It's a big challenge in Eugene.
You talked about the continuity on the defensive side. All 3 levels there. You talked about the D lineman and Kamara, the linebacker and Fisher, I believe, and then the DB in Pons. They were all Big Ten last year. They all returned. The defensive coordinator, what's his name, Tone?
His name is, I just had it here, Bryant Haynes.
Haynes, he's been with Cignetti for 11 years now. So you're talking about a lot of continuity on the defensive side. I assume they think they've gotten better there. And then you talk about Mendoza. This guy's in the Heisman conversation, maybe number 1 overall pick conversation with this Indiana team, and Cignetti seemingly has a winner. Tone, what did he miss there? What are some nuggets that we need to also think about that maybe Steve didn't hit on as we head out to beautiful Oregon for college game day? Guest picker TBD, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, TBD.
You guys talked about them being, both of them being top 5 in the Heisman conversation. These two are number 1 and number 2 in the odds to go number 1 and number 2 in the NFL draft next season. So it's not like you have guys who are great Saturday players and great Saturday quarterbacks, and I'm just going to throw out like Diego Pavia. He is an incredible college football quarterback. Is he going to be in the NFL? Probably. Is he going to be an NFL starter? Probably not. But like these guys,
you don't know Diego Pavia.
I know. I'm just saying there's great Saturday players, but then there's great Saturday players and great Sunday players, and these two are projected to be the top 2 as of right now. That can change, obviously. We got a lot of time left there. But, like, as far as these two teams go, they don't have any weaknesses. They could both throw the ball. They could both run the ball. They both stop the run. They both stop the pass. Like, there is no weaknesses on either of these teams. I think the difference potentially could be, first and foremost, Autzen. It's one of the loudest stadiums. Will Howard said that last year. It was the loudest stadium he's ever played in. And then also, neither of these teams have any weaknesses. But Oregon has a lot more of those 5-star guys. So will that be the difference in this game?
And that'll be a story for Oregon forever and ever. Amen. They'll have more 5-star guys because of obviously the backing. But what Dan Lanning's been able to build with how far away this place is, honestly, when you get there, it's gorgeous. I mean, they got new buildings being built next to new buildings. So there's like new buildings. Oh, no, not new enough. Let's make new buildings. And that is what it is. It is beautiful once you get out there. But when you talk about how far away it is, and them having to handle the travel for every one of their games, you know, we're listening to James Franklin talk about going to UCLA, Lincoln Riley talking about USC having to travel. It's like, well, we all knew this was going to happen whenever this became the Big Ten, and the ACC is going to have it take place as well. Dan Lanning has never complained about that at all. Dan Lanning is just so locked in. I enjoy the way he operates. I like the way his teams kind of fall in place, and I like the way Cignetti operates too, AJ. This guy is confident. He feels like he has to be the way that he is. I think, and obviously special teams making huge plays is going to be a big difference. You talked about them losing to Ohio State last year. Punt returner, ball will punt, fumble to punt, and then all of a sudden Ohio State kind of turns that thing into what it turned into with them. But Cignetti has this mantra of confidence and attitude that seems like it's going to be able to carry over, AJ. There's a chance that what that happened to them last year isn't what happens to them this year in the big games.
I think it's more impressive in how they have started out this year, coming off last year. Remember, we talked a lot. Hey, okay, Sig's going to have to find a way to reload and do this all over again to continue to be, to bring in the type of guys and to keep the guys there that you need. So, yeah, I'm very impressed. This is a huge game. I mean, obviously for Oregon, but for Indiana, it is like, hey, how good are we? And if we can come back – think if Indiana goes into Oregon and gets a win. That changes the landscape of college football. Completely.
Certainly in the Big Ten, which I'm looking at a couple guys. Iowa Hawkeye right here next to Boston Connor, and then a Penn State Nittany Lion sitting down here at the end of the desk. And it's like, wait a minute, Steve. Indiana now definitely in the upper tier of Big Ten football. And the sustainability question has been answered for this year. Then we're going to ask it again next year, just because it's new that Indiana's like this. But this type of stage is good for Cignetti, I think. Anytime they get this opportunity is good for them, Steve.
Absolutely. They just have to be better in this instance. Going back and watching them at Ohio State last year, their O-line really struggled with going on silent count, IDing the defense with Knowles with all those exotic blitzes, especially on third down, and they got roughed up. They couldn't overcome. Ohio State just ambushed them. So I'm interested in that attack, or if they change that plan. I think it's too loud to go on the clap. But when you look at Oregon, I could see them with the pieces they have, how well they played defensively on the road. That's what it comes down to, Pat. When you look at these top teams, I think right now Oregon, Miami, Ohio State are in their own tier because they have shown they can go on the road and their defense dominates. And that's what I want to see out of Indiana. Their defense is better this year, but this is a true test. Shit, if Indiana wins, they should be number one in the country, no?
Certainly, and you've said that about three teams now, and that's because we're so early in the season, but it feels like we've already known about who's who. Nick Roadcap is reporting that Cignetti says, we have a veteran team, and the players have been around the block. They've been in games like this before. Boom. Sig said, we've been there, we've done that. Okay, we got guys that have experienced this before. And our quarterback, he was in a couple big ones last year for Cal, so he understands the moment as well. We're excited about this year's team and opportunity. And I'm sure before this game kicks off, we'll hear more from Sig. And that's a part of Sig football. And that has made Indiana good. Let's go to another game happening this weekend that I think a lot of people assume game day would be at because that is just kind of how it goes. The Red River rivalry, Oklahoma and Texas. Mateer. Steve, what should we be thinking as we head into, down there at the Texas State Fair, one of the big ones?
Yeah, it's all about Mateer if he's going to play, Pat. This whole thing flips on its head if he's going to play. I don't see it. Hearing how he just started gripping a ball last weekend. Venables has played games. When he had Dylan Gabriel, he played it off like he was going to play in this game, fresh off a concussion against TCU the week before. That doesn't happen. Last year, Hawkins starts in this game, not pretty at all. Hawkins starts last week, not pretty at all. I know they won 44-0, but you go back and watch the tape against a bad Kent State team. It was not pretty. I still think the biggest difference in this game is Oklahoma's defense. What they are, in the tops in the country in scoring defense, the different guy. In this day and age, NIL, where depth is a factor for everybody and a concern, Oklahoma's got plenty of guys on the D line, and that's what you want in this kind of games. Everybody's going to talk about Arch and that, his struggles. And I get it, 5 picks on the year, but that Sark offense, you got to be able to run the football. They can't run block or pass block. Florida ate him alive, and and then it gets into his head because then it's 2 interceptions. There's nobody pressuring him, so you could tell he's starting to get the happy feet. To me, it's can Texas score on this Oklahoma defense. I trust Oklahoma more, but it's a rivalry game. The unranked team, when they're playing a top 5 team in this series, has had a ton of success.
Unranked.
But it's up in the air right there. It's there for the taking.
They blow.
If Texas puts it together, but I haven't seen it yet, and I trust Oklahoma more.
That game against Florida was ugly. And if Mateer's playing, this guy is actual Superman. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, I know we got a lot of season left. Is there a contingency plan for Texas at quarterback if Arch continues to stink?
Whoa.
And then on the other side, we thought this Texas defense would be dominant as well. DJ Lagway finally had his best game of the season. What's going on with that side of the ball on Texas as well?
Yeah, Florida's offensive line dominated from the start, D. But they really had a good attack. Running those zone schemes. I think Ball is a stud as a running back, and Lagway getting Wilson back or starting his first game. I mean, that dude 6'3", 215 as a true freshman. That's a stud. I mean, catching the ball, carrying guys. That was the biggest difference in me. It was Texas that they hadn't seen it from Florida, and credit to Florida. I mean, you just can't put them away. But as far as Arch goes, I believe there's way more concerns on that offense than the quarterback position. And I get it. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback position, especially with Texas because of the last name. But again, that offensive line has to tighten up. I don't care who's you put another quarterback back there, they're only going to go backwards because they don't have a chance to succeed. Tighten up the defense and get that offensive line going. Hopefully Baxter's back to run the football. He's an All-American when he's healthy, and the receivers got to separate better. They just haven't had it. I mean, we see how well Golden has done at the NFL level, and he was in this wide receiver group last year, but he's gone, and these guys haven't stepped up. So I don't think there is there's guys obviously on the depth chart, but I think they got to tighten up everything else before they look at quarterback.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Mateer obviously is huge because it is a huge drop-off to Hawkins. But Steve talked about the Oklahoma defense. If it wasn't for Ohio State, this would probably be the best defense in the country, okay? They are, let's see here, make sure I want to get it right. Number 2 in points, number 1 in yards, number 1 on third down, number 5 versus the run, number 2 versus the pass, number 2 in sacks and TFLs. Florida sacked Arch 6 times last week. Florida now has 9 sacks on the season. Okay. Oklahoma had 10 sacks against Auburn in one game. They are second in the country in sacks and TFLs. Yes, Mateer Hawkins is huge, but what if Texas doesn't score? Is my point. Now their team total is over 21.5. I would definitely lean towards the under on that unless they've find some fucking magic fairy dust this week and fix all their problems. But it's the Oklahoma defense that Steve has talked about, and I think is definitely probably going to be the defense or the difference in this game because Texas was supposed to be the Oklahoma defense, and they were until last week. Don't know what happened last week.
Texas was the Oklahoma defense last year, it feels like. Oklahoma's defense with Venables feels like that was going to be good regardless. Just kind of everybody's thoughts. And then now you pair that offense. Mateer, what is his deal? Dr. Shin?
He's the GOAT.
Dr. Shin did a month-and-a-half long recovery surgery in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Got it back in 2 weeks.
Tough son of a bitch.
He ain't playing.
Mateer's a cowboy, brother. Hey, Dad Arbuckle's dad got a fucking belt buckle, won that shit, wrestling steers, okay? That's offense coordinator. Got fucking Mateer getting an opportunity. These boys are tough.
Tough.
Built Oklahoma tough.
That's right.
I believe it.
You know what sucks for the
I think
Oklahoma
they're from
offense?
Texas. Wow.
What sucks for the Oklahoma offense, too, if Mateer can't go, they're 97th in the country in running the ball. So I don't have a lot of confidence in either offense if Mateer's out.
How about Tone saying, are they going to score a point? Now, their over-under is 21.5.
Nuts.
I'm wondering if they're even going to be able to get a first down, is what Tone's basically saying, because of the D-line. And also, Venables cooks on that back end. There's a lot of moving pieces. They are a smothering defense. Have been for some time. Go ahead, Steve.
This total's 42.5. It's the lowest this century in this game.
Wow.
42.5, longest in this century.
All right, let's go ahead.
One quick thing, Pat. I worry about Mateer. I get it. Oklahoma hates Texas. I understand that. But this is one game. You got to have that guy for the rest of the SEC season. You can't run him out there and then he's out for the year if he gets dinged up again. I just can't see that happening. win the game with your defense and move on. That's got to be the goal for Oklahoma.
If you listen back to you saying SEC season, you should be proud of yourself. That's a fucking tough one with your accent. My accent as well, it's not easy. And you dropped that thing right in the middle perfectly. You should be incredibly proud. Can't wait for that one. And also, there's a huge one down in the SEC. Obviously, we just had a chance to go down there and celebrate Nick Saban getting recognized for going into the College Football Hall of Fame. Alabama is taking on Missouri. What do we need to know about Missouri is I feel like we told the Ty Simpson and Alabama story last week in pretty good detail, and they get a huge win over Vandy.
Yeah, and all these teams that we mentioned, we've seen them go on the road, and you know we've seen them play against great competition. I don't know what to think of Missouri. Drinkowitz does a great job with that offense. They throw a ton at you in the run game as far as eye candy, but they're 109th in strength of schedule. And you got Alabama coming in who got their ass kicked at Florida State, went on the road and gutted one out against Georgia, and then gutted one out with their defense against Vandy. I mean, you were there. That game was up for grabs, man. Vandy went up and down the field in the first half, and they only came away with, 14 points, 2 turnovers inside the 10-yard line. But that was Alabama taking it away from Vanderbilt, and that was really impressive. So the question to me is, Ty Simpson with this, was it fifth-ranked pass offense, averaging about 325 in the air. What does it look like on the road in an early start versus an unproven team who has a great running back in Ahmad Hardy? He's leading FBS with 146 yards a game. I just don't know what to expect from Missouri. That's the tough thing about this one.
Tom, what do you expect from Missouri in this one?
Yeah, I think it's similar to last week, kind of with Bama and Vandy. It's going to be, can Bama stop the run? Because Vandy came in last week averaging over 200 whatever yards a game, and Bama they held them to a decent amount. Obviously, had the long rushing touchdown to start the game, but Mizzou, great against the run and great running the ball. They are number 1 in the country in stopping the run, and Bama just got their run game going last week with Jam Miller, and then they're number 3 in the country in running the ball. Steve talked about Ahmad Hardy. He's got 700-some yards rushing already on the season, number 1 in the country. So it's going to be, can Bama stop the run, because they're still 88th versus the run? And then that Bama defense, they've only given up 7 points in the last 2 games in the second half. They gave up 7 to Georgia and none to Vandy, if I'm correct. So they've given up yards and points in the first half, but none in the second half. But Ty Simpson is I think, the best player, or the best quarterback. Pribula has been good out of the transfer out of Penn State, running and throwing, but Ty Simpson's been incredible. So can Mizzou stop the Alabama pass game?
Ty Simpson was fun to watch live. He's a leader out there. He's got good energy. He's got good juice. They got athletes all over the place. And shout out to Kalen DeBoer sitting in the pocket, taking all the heat that he took, certainly after the loss to Florida State. And now they look like they're ready to go on a run. That's Isaiah Horton right there, I believe. He is just eye test. Walk by you. Holy shit. I mean, is that tight end? No, it's a wide receiver. He puts on 10 pounds. He could be tight end. He could be, he is. Everybody looks the part, obviously.
Look like Bama.
It's Alabama, yeah, and they're playing like it too. Good for them. Hey, a couple other stories around college football that the boys want to ask you about, Stanford Steve. Let's start with a member of the Penn State. We are Penn State crowd. Super Bowl champion, A.Q. Shipley.
Yeah, Steve, you just mentioned Bo down in Missouri, and obviously hindsight's 2020, and maybe they should have kept him based on how Drew Allers looked. But is there any noise right now with Ethan Grunkmeyer maybe stepping in for Drew Aller? Because they're getting ready to play a Northwestern team that beat UCLA. UCLA beat Penn State. They're blaming it on the travel, yet Dan Lanning traveled and won. So, just wondering, just curious about that.
Hey, Q's got questions about Penn State right now.
Okay.
I thought he had the answers for Penn State.
Hey,
Yikes. That's why I thought he was talking.
Hey, that's a good call, Steve.
Yikes.
That's a good call. More problems.
I wish I
not
did.
Solutions. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I got to watch them practice Thursday when I was there, AQ, and he does have the build of Pribula. And everybody goes back to what Pribula looked like when he came in, saved the day against Wisconsin. And then you think about Kotelnicki, where he came from, and Kansas was the best when they had Daniels running that offense. With a mobility and all the misdirection they run, Pribula probably looked better in that system. But then you go back to last week, the offense wasn't the problem. The defense got diced up nonstop. I mean, 270 yards UCLA ran for against Penn State, who I would bet on has every higher-ranked prospect in the matchup when you look at UCLA's offensive line against the defensive line. And the quarterback run killed them, as you saw there with Nico. So I don't know what to think of Penn State because you get what you want. You battle all the way back, and when your backs were against the wall against the top team in the country in Oregon, and then you go out there and look like that against a winless team, they got to tighten up both sides. And that starts with the coaching staff. When you look at it, you got to get this thing ironed out. And what the defense looked like last week, James Franklin's never lost this kind of game at Penn State. 24-point favor on the road. He's never lost those games.
Yikes.
So that all this stuff is first that I think they got to get ironed out, and we'll see.
You think it's going to work out? Or what?
Well, I saw the UCLA coach now has as many top 10 wins as James Franklin does.
Oh, Neuheisel's
Jerry Neuheisel's a good
dog
coach.
in there, okay? The guy found out he was calling plays on Wednesday. Sore. It was the first time. Had to call his dad, let him know, hey, I'm calling plays. He said, this weekend? And he did. And he did a fantastic job. It was one of the greatest stories of college football this past week. And it reminded us all that even if it appears as if you have no hope, no optimism at all, just about to get absolutely bamboozled by greatness, and you are just a sack and a pile of shit.
Jeez.
If that's how everybody is viewing it, you can win. Because UCLA beat Penn State. How many point? 24-point spread?
Yeah.
We should remember this as inspiration. The Cincinnati Bengals won 4 games the year before they went to the Super Bowl. Okay, so every NFL team can say, hey, ass went to the Super Bowl. And if your team is completely out of it already, like UCLA has been since before kickoff of the first game, okay, rude to say, reality of the situation, you can get a win over Penn State. You can get a win over the number 1 team in the country at one point. You can have a promising dub that can change the trajectory of your entire program. I heard UCLA got some more commitments.
Really?
All you need is one of those big. James Franklin actually helping UCLA out all of a sudden out of nowhere, getting these big-time wins. Because UCLA is in Los Angeles.
True.
It is in Los Angeles, as we found out from the Big Ten Media Days last year when Coach took his hand.
Yep.
I mean, it was bad UCLA football. Guys leaving, why can't win there? Well, who's there next? Well, the way he described it is it's in Los Angeles. That was all he really had to say about it. Okay, bad. And then they just smack Penn State around. Just absolutely demoralized.
Well, it ended up being too far of a trip for James Franklin.
Well, I'll tell you what, city of big lights out there, too. There's a lot of stats coming out, but maybe not so much anymore.
Well, yeah.
Which is a bummer. I don't like that.
The question will be, and we'll look back on this moment, is what's UCLA going to do when the Dolphins fire Mike McDaniel and they hire Jerry Neuheisel to be their newest head coach?
It's
And
gonna
then
be tough.
you lose. How are you going to replace that guy?
I don't know. I think you just bring actually Joey Molinaro in there and just tell him to be.
Yeah, and he never left.
Yeah, never left.
Yeah.
Just be Neuheisel. I don't know if you saw this, AQ.
Good call.
I got good news for you against Northwestern.
Okay.
You guys are honoring the 90s end zones with the paint job.
Wow.
Remember these days? You remember these days?
Yeah.
LeVar Arrington jumping over people. This was in the end zone.
They should have never changed that end zone. That looks really good.
It does look really good. Now, I don't know what it looked like last week.
Yeah,
when
what's the other one? What's the other one look like?
I asked Bruce. Penn State football tweeted this out. They said we're going to honor or something. Look back.
at this.
That's what they tweeted, and it was something about honoring tradition. Basically, is what they said. There's no real other context. Like, what does it look like last week, and when, what year exactly, and all those things. But we do know it looks cool.
That does look cool. They should keep that. I don't know if they actually had anything in the end zone for the Oregon game. I think it was just blank.
Well, I walked across it, Gump. We walked across it, right? We should have a video actually.
Yeah, I'm trying
right?
to find the video right now.
Huh.
Is it the
It was-
iconic white
I think it was
diamonds?
stenciled with blue on the outside. I could be wrong.
What do you mean? The whole entire Penn
That's the change.
Yeah, that's a different font. They went different font.
Damn, that's dummy, dog. I love that.
That is dummy, dude. That's lit. They should sell shirts with that.
Goes
Maybe make
hard.
some new merch.
They got new. They're going back to the uniforms too with the white collar.
Holy
No way.
fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
remember-
That's what I played with.
Yeah, there's pictures.
White collar.
There's pictures of him in magazines.
That's right.
You know, and white collar good for Penn State too. I think What was it, a blue collar before? Yeah, right.
It was something. The blue didn't match. I heard the whole story this week. I literally listened to the video.
What was the story?
It was when Russell was making the uniforms. They were trying to make better uniforms. The blue on the collar didn't match the blue of the jersey. So the equipment manager said, hey, just put the white on there. Joe won't even notice. And then Joe approved it.
So Joe knew.
Okay.
No,
Jesus.
about the jersey.
In this case, Joe didn't know.
Yeah.
That's what kind of saying.
Okay.
Big college football slate this weekend. Obviously, we got a big one in Oregon that we're going to be lucky enough to be on the grounds of in the morning, early morning over there. They always show up for us since I've been on the show. It's very cool. Pitch black, cold, probably a little bit of rain. It's like a perfect setting for football. And their crowd, their students show up for us in a big way. Obviously, their mascot is electric. Yeah. I mean, he's going to do something that's going to be a show. There's been live animals, I think, a few different times whenever we've been out there.
What kind?
The duck, which, Steve, I don't want to have this conversation. There are people listening. Obviously, this is live. Steve's fear of ducks is disgusting. Like,
really?
Think how big Steve is. Think how big he is.
Just kick him in the head, Steve.
Exactly.
I know, but I'm sitting down, and they put it on the desk right next to me. And the thing's neck is longer than my arm. I don't know what it's going to do, man.
He freaks out. That Aflac
freaks me out.
It ruins his entire...
He just stares at me. He just stares at me, and I got all these guys chirping on the desk at me.
Yeah, so look, he is frozen right now. That duck completely froze him. You know, Steve, always good vibes guy. I think that's like one of Stanford Steve's thing. Always good vibes. Even when he's not a part of the conversation, you look over, Steve's in his area. He's either in ear, chit-chatting, saying something, or he's just over there. Good vibes, good vibes. Soon as this duck shows up, bad vibes. Just immediately bad vibes. And it's through an entire commercial break. The Ducks handler, Aflac Ducks handler, is placing it right in front of him, petting it. And Steve is just frozen. Just like, I don't even want to look at it. So he has ears in, nobody else does, so we can talk directly to him, right? Because our mics go to his ears. And we just start like shit talking him, refute. You actually have a fear of these things, though. You actually are scared of that duck?
He was better behaved this year, but last year, as soon as he got on the desk, he was just eyeballing me the whole time. And I don't know. He got in my head.
You've been picking good. How'd you do this weekend? You've been 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Yeah, 1-2.
It was inevitable.
Steve-o.
It was inevitable. How'd Theo do? How'd Theo's picks do? Do we see?
5-3, I think.
Not terrible.
His pickers have been awful.
Whoa.
They don't have any spread. Like it's bad. Like the best, I think 6-3 is the leader.
Yeah, but this has been a tough year. You've been doing well. It's been a tough year.
I'm just saying. You've been good when you go on the island. Island.
Come on, brother. I was looking for that too. Everybody heard me in production meeting. Hey, is there any picks where everybody's on the same page, please? I'm looking to go the other way. Yeah, we got one here, blah, 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 and then somebody took it. I'm like, all right, sweet. But I'm certainly looking for those.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the way these sports books have been winning, brother. Not just in college. In the NFL, they've been really winning. They've been kicking the shit out of all of us. That's why we'll continue to listen to you. We appreciate the hell out of you, brother. Can't wait to see you in Oregon.